All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Mind Body Blend. We're in the month of May 2024. Our focus is functional posture. We've been working the last couple classes mostly on correcting this type of posture, but what I want you to focus on a little bit more today is correcting the posture in your pelvis because we do a lot of sitting all day long. So when we're sitting, these muscles get really tight and shortened. And then our glutes just take a holiday and a vacation, and they do not work quite as well. So, what I want to focus on is lengthening the hip flexors, which we'll spend time also in yoga class this week, but also then connecting with the glutes and strengthening the backside of that joint. We'll also be working through the shoulders and we're working through a range of motion with a circular action. And this is a sequence developed from the Pilates mat repertoire called Rowing 3. So I want to start with that. I'm going to get a little bit of nice, gentle background music here for us. So I'd like you to stand in Pilates or ballet first position and find a really good posture. And just imagine that you're increasing your height by 1 more inch. So you're really lengthening up. And we'll bend the elbows right about 90 degrees. And then press your arms forward. Keep your arms straight as you lower them by your sides. Then lift straight back up and circle around. Oh, my chair's in the way. So let's start that again. Bend the elbows about 90 degrees. Press forward. Lower. And circle around. Now it's up to you how big you make that circle depending on any shoulder issues you have. Also, you can press at more of an angle upward, down, and circle around. So each time we start with a bend in the elbows, push forward, lower, circle around, and bend, forward, and circle. So if that circle's bothering your shoulders, you can just push forward, lower, and then do a shoulder roll. That might feel really nice to try a couple of those. Now, just a little balance check if you'd like to add it. As you do your circle, slightly lift off your heels and releve. Lift. Now find your abdominals. I want you to brace navel toward the spine. And wherever it feels good for you to breathe is correct. There's no right or wrong way. I kind of like the inhale there during the circle, but you can also put the exhalation there as well. Now, later in class today, we're going to have the option, and I emphasize the word option, to do this with very light weights. But if you're feeling any stress in the joint right now, you're just going to make that decision that when we get there, no weights is just fine. Let's do 2 more of these. Rowing 3 is the name of this sequence. A lot of times this is done on the reformer or seated on the floor. All right, relax. Now I have my chair for a little bit of balance. I'm going to place it to my right side. Still in that first position, take your left foot and we'll go point, close to 5th position, lift and circle it around and come back to first. It's very similar to what we just did. So we point, close, lift, and circle to first. Point, close across, lift, and circle. Now, if you want, with this free hand, you can do rowing 3. Point, close, circle. Rebend your elbow. Point, close. And if that's too much for your brain right now this morning, still early, that's okay. You don't have to put it all together. Point, close, lift, and circle. Let's do 2 more. One more. Nice job. Now just lift this leg out to the side and then push it behind you. Behind you. So what we're doing is focusing on firing your glute and slightly stretching up the hip flexor. But we're in warm-up mode. You can also have this knee bent and push back with your foot to the back of the room. Press. And this is really squeezing intense through the glute. We don't have any resistance, but just the firing and squeezing of your muscle. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Close that leg back in. I'm going to move my chair to the other side so I can freely move that other arm. Let's start with the right leg only. So this foot goes point, close across to 5th position, lift and circle back to 1st. So I start with my heels together. Point, heel to the big toe, lift and circle, close the heels. Point, close, lift and circle. Now when I do that lift and circle, I don't want you to move your pelvis, so it doesn't have to be very big. Now you can choose whether to add the arms. So you start with a bend elbow, point, close, lift, and circle. Point, close. Brain has to really think because I have the tendency to want to go across like that, right? Because my leg is doing that, but it's just the same rowing 3 sequence with that right arm. Good, let's get 2 more. This class is called Mind Body Blend, and we definitely get the mind and the body working together. Okay, lift that leg and push back behind you. Right from the glute. You can have the leg straight, or we can bend the knee and push the heel back. Squeeze, release. And I'm not letting the knee come way forward to kind of swing it back there. I'm kind of starting from neutral to back behind, keeping the core engaged. 6, 5, 4, shoulders back and down. 3, 2, 1, and release it down. Turn to face whatever you're using for balance with your toes turned out, 1st position. Releve, up, 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 up. Tightening up your glute muscles, your inner thighs. Shoulder blades are back. Abs are scooped in. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax down. Turn your feet to parallel. Take your right foot back. Press your heel down into the floor to stretch your calf. Bend your front knee. Then release your chair, and I want you to feel a stretch across the front of your right hip. Lift your right arm up if that feels comfortable, and side bend to your left. So I'm just really opening the hip, giving it a good stretch. That's going to help us to engage our glute better during class today. All right, come back up. Step the back foot forward. Left foot step straight back, parallel foot. Push your heel down to stretch your calf. Front knee is bent. Release the chair. Left arm lifts. Now, if you need some help with balance, you can put your other hand here on the chair as well. Side stretch over to the right. If that bothers your shoulder for your arm to be up, you don't need to use it. Just side bend your body, keep your arm down. All right. Step that back foot forward. And then I'm going to use my chair here with some squats. If you don't have one close by, you don't need to use a chair, but I'm going to kind of use it as a guideline. So stepping in front of the chair, I'm going to come down like I'm going to sit in it, just barely tap my bum and come up. Down and up. Good, keep going. I'm going to turn my chair so I'm facing toward you. So some things I want you to think about. Maybe think that you're driving in a car. Each time you come down, you got the steering wheel. You can keep your arms out in front of you. You can maybe make a turn. That bothers your shoulders, hands can tuck in, but keep your shoulder blades back. So each time you stand up, I want you to think about firing your glutes. Sometimes our quads do all the work. And again, then the glutes kind of go to sleep a little bit during some of these movements. Let's do one more. Then coming into your chair or holding a squat, take your hands. We're going to do rowing 3. So as you stand up, reach, do a little knee bend, lower your arms, circle around, and then sit back down into your chair. Then we bend the elbows. We stand as we reach. We do a little knee bend, baby squat. Stand back up, open. Let yourself down into the chair. Now, if you need some help sitting back down, what I want you to do is as your arms are coming around, you're going to find the chair with your hands and guide yourself down into the chair. Now, those of you that want to add hand weights, I want you to think about this circle. Maybe it's not going to be as big. It might be more right in here, and the weights can be very light. So I'm going to pick up my 3s. So we can do one without standing up just to see if this weight's okay. So I'm going to press, lower, lift, and circle around. Okay, for me, that feels all right. So I'm going to stay with it. You make your choice. Elbows bent. As we press, we stand. Do a little knee bend, arms come down. Straighten back up, lift open around, and sit yourself down into the chair. Good. So lots of options here, with or without weights, with or without the chair. Making your circle small if needed. So we're just going to do one more. And coming on down. I've just tucked those weights right into your chest. We're going to stagger our squat. So your right foot will come forward a little. Your left foot is slightly behind, and you're on a flat right foot, the ball of your left foot. And just shift forward a little bit and stand up. So basically I'm in a split stance like this, and then you'll let yourself back down, sitting into the chair. So your option is just to have weights here at your chest, not to do the rowing sequence, or even to set your weights down on the floor and not worry about having them. Otherwise, we're going to do our rowing sequence. So as you stand up, you'll press, do a little knee bend, up, circle back down. Let's do 5 of these. Four more. Control it down. 3 more. My surgical knee's feeling pretty strong. It's the one that's in front. My other knee that's got a little bit of arthritis in the back is, well, it's just kind of saying a little bit of an ouch, but not too bad. We have 1 more. Relax. Good. I'm trusting that you're making the right choice for you with these arm movements, for those of you that have some shoulder issues. Okay, let's switch the feet. Just weights here. We'll stand up and down a few times just to get used to this staggered squat. Good. So my left foot is flat. My right heel is up off the floor that's in the back. Okay, so we can try the arms. Press. A little bend. Up. Circle around. 5 from here. Good. Now you'll notice the energy shifts a little bit more from one foot to the other. As I'm coming around, I feel like I'm using my back foot a little bit more. As I'm coming up, using that glute of the front leg. Two more. Nice. 1 more. I feel the heart rate up a little bit here. A lot of muscles responding. And down. Good. Weights back to the chest. Now we're going to turn the toes out, feet a little wider, and rise up and come down. So I want you to fire your glutes as you're standing, inner thighs a little bit. And then if you would like to add some arm movement, options are to press above the head or to bring the arms down in front for a little bicep curl, to press straight forward. Anything you want to do here with the arms, or just set your weights down. Don't worry about it. Good. Let's get 5 more. Four. 3. Press in the heels. 2. All the way up to finish, to a stand. And release the weights down. Excellent. Okay, next setup that you'll need is you're going to use your chair to place one hand on for balance. So I'm going to move it toward the top of my mat here. You'll need one weight that's pretty heavy for a bent over row. So I'm going to grab one single 8 pounder. You can just place it right on your chair there. So what I want you to think about is opposite hand that's on the chair, the opposite foot is on the floor. Okay, so if I have my right foot forward, my left hand goes on the chair. So the opposites are connected with something. My left leg is going to go up. My right arm is free. So it's like a bird dog. Now, if you need this other hand here for a moment, use it. And we're going to bend the knee and squeeze the glute and push down. Push down. So if you don't want to use the arms at all, you can just focus on firing the glute. Scoop your abs in. Now to advance this and use the right arm with the weight, we're going to pull it up as the leg lifts and then bring it halfway down. Pull it up and up. So your standing leg is getting some work just to stabilize. So now I can say that's my arthritic hip that needs a replacement. And I'm feeling it as I'm standing on this right side. Not bad, but I can tell those muscles are working isometrically. The left glute is pushing up toward the ceiling. Any amount. I'm retracting the right shoulder blade. Scoop your abs in. Let's get 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can set the weight down to the chair. Lower the leg. And give yourself a break to stand up. Pull your shoulder blades back. Find really good posture. Okay, so now our left foot will be the standing leg. So the left foot's forward. That means the right hand goes to the chair, so we have opposites. Float that right leg up. You can use both hands on the chair for now, and we'll push and down. Squeeze, release. So you know where we're going. So anytime you're ready, you can reach the left hand to your weight, and we'll pull up, halfway down with the arm. Whoop, tipping over to the side. So we're only going halfway down with the arm so we can keep tension on the muscle all the way through. We're working the top half range of motion. Try not to lock out your standing leg. Just a micro bend in that knee. Brace your core. Exhale as you lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set the weight down. Lower the leg. Soften your knees. Stand up. Good posture. Shoulders are back. Nice job, everybody. All right, I'm going to take that single weight with me, that heavy one, and bring it next to the side of the mat. I also want a light one there as well because I want you to be able to reach both a heavy one and a light one. You may or may not use them. So what we're going to do is something similar to what we just did standing, but we're going to bring it down to the mat. So I'm going to move the chair forward here. Grab my padding for my knees. Oh, I forgot to bring it out there. Here we go. Okay, so hands and knees position. Now, if you don't want to come down to the mat, then you go do that one again. 2 sets is great. Otherwise, we're coming down. And again, we have opposite hand and knee are going to be on the floor. So what I want to do is keep my right knee on the floor, my left hand on the floor. This right hand is free, and send my left leg straight back. So just do a little spinal balance. If you want to put both hands down and just have the leg lifted, that's okay. Bend the left knee. We're going to push it up to the ceiling and down. Now you might choose to add your heavier weight right behind the knee. So it's kind of nice just to take your hand weight, tuck it behind your knee. You're going to have to grab onto it a little bit and up and down. Now we can see if we can do that without touching the right hand to the floor. Or you can take your smaller weight into your right hand, lift your arms straight beside your body, and lift. Okay, there's a lot going on here, a lot of layers. You can choose to do whatever you want in this sequence. So I'm going to choose to take the weight out of the back of my knee and just keep going here without the weight. 8, 7, 6, nice neutral spine, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right. Come back to hands and knees position. You can take a child's pose or tuck the toes, lift the hips, and do a little downward dog. I like the down dog right here because I feel like the backs of my legs really need to stretch at the moment. You can do that using your chair as well. Okay, so we're going to break it down on the other side with all of those options accessible for you. Take what works, leave what doesn't. Okay, so now my left knee is going to be on the floor. I'm going to go ahead and put the weight, behind the right leg. And I'm going to try a few of these. So we can see if we can lift our left hand off the floor. Or we can keep that hand down. We can just start with the leg movement. Another option to pick up your lighter weight in your left hand, hold your arm beside your body and lift up. Up. And what you do on one side might not be the same as what you do on the other side. Just depends on what feels right in your body, any injuries or surgeries you might be dealing with. 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's release that side down. And again, take any stretch that feels right for you. I'm going to go back up into that downward dog. Breathe and exhale. Okay, now you're going to have the opportunity again to lift the leg from the hands and knees here. Your next option is to come all the way down on your stomach. So this is a great exercise for the glute and the back, the posterior chain. So either hands and knees or come all the way down to your belly. If you're on your belly, you're going to just make a little pillow for your forehead with your right or with your hands, keeping your head straight, and we'll lift that right leg off the floor. Up, down, up, down. And we're doing that from the hip. So it's the glute connecting. So in other words, we're not just bending our knee and straightening. Your knee can bend a little bit, but this is mostly a straight leg. Good. So if you're up on your hands and knees, you're just doing a straight leg raise to fire your glute and maybe taking your opposite hand off the floor. Last 8. Your leg doesn't have to come up very high. 6, 5. Opening up the hip flexor. 3, 2, 1, and relax down. Just take a breath here as we prepare for the other side. All right, left leg lifts, lifts. If you're on your hands and knees, you might need to take a break for your wrists. So really listen to your body here. So each time we squeeze the glute and lift the leg, the hip flexor is releasing and relaxing. It should be. It's called reciprocal inhibition. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, I don't know about you, but my low back feels like it needs a break. So what you can do here is press yourself up to hands and knees, or to child's pose, or again to a downward dog. You can also roll over onto your side and just tuck your knees up toward your chest, just to give your low back a little bit of a counter stretch. Okay, we're going to do alternating either spinal balance or alternating Superman or contralateral raise. So I'm going to show you both so you can decide what to do here. So you can come to your hands and knees. Opposite hand and leg come off the mat. Then you come back in. Opposite hand and leg come off the mat. So that's option 1. Option 2, we're going to come down to the belly. Opposite hand and leg come off the mat and switch. If you're doing the one on your belly, you can lift your chest up as you lift the arm and the opposite leg. So you're getting some work through your back, spinal extension. Primarily, I want you to think about squeezing the glute of the leg that's lifting. You can also do this without your arms and just alternate your leg raises one at a time. This is a great exercise to strengthen the SI joint area, that's sacroiliac. Let's keep going about another 15-20 seconds. Finish one more on each side. And then give yourself an appropriate counter stretch. Maybe press yourself up to all fours. A cat stretch is great. Child's pose is wonderful. Or a downward dog. If your shoulders and wrists are okay with that. Okay, take your time to come onto your back. You might want to have your chair fairly close to put your feet up on your chair if that's something that you want to try. So I'm going to bring mine closer so you guys can see those options. And I'd like for you to have 2 different sizes of hand weights close to you and your yoga strap. Good. So all of that's going to be accessible once you head down onto your back. Got a little bit of a pillow here for the head as well. So we're going to be doing some bridging here to really concentrate on the glutes. And you can do that with your feet right on the floor, or you can put your heels up on your chair. So what's the difference? If your feet are up on the chair, you're going to feel it a little bit more in your hamstrings too, and you're going to be able to lift your hips a little higher. So just take a second on your own if you want to try both. So when my feet are on the floor, my hips are coming up yay big, feeling it in my glutes, a little bit of hamstring. When I put those feet up onto the chair and lift, I can come up a lot higher, and I'm really feeling it in the backs of my legs. And that will depend too on how close your chair is to you. So the further away it is from your body, the more you're going to feel it in your hamstrings. Okay, so I want you to decide where you want to be. And we're going to do a top half range of motion. So we'll take the bridge up, halfway down, up, halfway down, up, halfway. Keep going. I'm going to bring my feet back down to the mat, up, halfway down. Just relaxing your arms for now. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come all the way down. Okay, I'd like for you to take one weight in your right hand, and we'll be coming down to the mat and pushing up. So choose the weight you want to work with there. You can do a pretty good workload unless you have some shoulder issues. Now you can take your left hand off the mat so you're not using it on the floor to brace your body. Now lift your hips up. Either hold them up off the floor, or you can lower down, push up. So either sustained movement for the hip by not moving, or lowering and lifting. So this is our opposing work from that row we did when we had our hand on the chair, because I always like to put opposing muscle group into a class. It's really a nice option, so we know we worked both sides of the joint. 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, if hips are up, lower down. Swap that weight to the other hand. You can give your glutes a rest for a second as we start with the arm on the other side. We bring the elbow down, up, down, up. Then we can lift the hips. We can hold them up, or we can lower and lift. Now you guys can add all kinds of options here. Get creative with your work. Maybe you're doing something else with your right arm. But remember where our focus is today. It's releasing the hip flexors. It's engaging the glutes. Working opposing muscles from earlier in class. 10, 9, 8, 'exhale as you push. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower those hips down, release the weight. Just place it off to the side of your body. Take your yoga strap. We're going to let it go behind the back of the head and act like a hammock. So I'm pulling outward with my arms and then do a little crunch. Up, down, up, down. So as we do this crunch, your feet can be on the mat or you can set your feet up on your chair. It's going to help your lower back a little bit. Or you can lift the right leg up into table. The left foot can be on the chair or it can be suspended off the floor. 8, 7, 6, 5. Relax your neck. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Come back with both feet on the floor or on the chair. You can let go of your strap for a moment and release your hands. Maybe open and close them a little bit or circle your wrists. Okay, we've got the other side to do. Coming in position, elbows out to the side. Just crunch to start. So our options, both feet on the floor, both feet on the chair, left knee in table, right foot out to the chair, or suspended off the ground. Up and down. Choose your layer. Six more. Up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax completely. Set those feet down. Let go of the strap for a moment. Open, close the hands or stretch through the forearms. Okay, take hold of that yoga strap again, but bring it right up in front of you. I'm going to also give you the option to do this with weights in your hands. But the first option, we're going to just let the arms slightly come up away from the body and then right about here to neutral. So this is going to be the action, which is a lat pull. Okay, so we can do that with the yoga strap. We can pick up light weights. Do it in your hand, the weights in your hands, either 2 weights or 1 between both hands. So our left foot can be on the mat. We can put our right foot on the chair or extend your leg out. The weights or arms go out and then we lift the leg up. So we are working the hip flexor, and you might think, well, why are we working it if we're focusing on glutes? Well, when we are sitting in a chair a lot, are our hip flexors working? No, they're just bent and tight, but they're not doing any strengthening. So again, we want to work both sides of the joint. Now you can add a little crunch with this. So we can come up, work the abs, and down. Let's do 5 more. 4, 3, you choose the layers. 2, and 1. Good. Relax the strap or the weights. Feet flat on the floor. Weights or the yoga strap, you choose. And we'll just take the arms over. Maybe your shoulders have had enough of this and you don't want to, so you can just bend your elbows and straighten. You could do a tricep. and keep the shoulders stable. Okay, that left leg has a chance to come up. We extend and lift. Remember, your right foot can be on the chair to give your lower back less strain here. And you can also just make your arms go slightly above your head. That's going to be better on your lower back if you're feeling anything than bringing your arms way up. Okay, we can add the crunch. So we'll inhale and exhale. 5 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax, bring it in. Make sure your feet are about hips distance apart as well as your knees. And we're going to do a little windshield wiper. So what I'm going to do is brace my elbows right down here on the ground, just gently. I'm going to drop both knees over to the right. This is going to free up my left hip flexor. And then I'll drop both knees over to the left, which will free up my right hip flexor. So I just want you to go side to side. And the hip flexor that's the one on top, I want you to engage your glute each time you go to that side. So as your knees are to the left, you'll engage the right glute. It feels like you're almost pushing your hip up to the ceiling. As your knees are to the right, engage your left glute, push your hip up to the ceiling. So these are pretty conscious movements. We're not just dropping our knees side to side willy-nilly. We're thinking about pushing that hip up, connecting with the glutes. Squeeze. Excellent. So next time your knees go to the right side, stop. Keep your glute switched on your left side with your hip pressed up to the ceiling. And you can either stay here or bring that yoga strap again back behind your head. And I'm going to give you 10 crunches in this position. So your chest lifts straight up and down. 9, 8. Keep squeezing the left glute. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax. So I'm going to allow you to stay here for a second. Just relax and stretch. Another option is to roll onto that side. And if you can catch this ankle with your hand or your yoga strap, pull the leg back into a quad stretch. This is going to give our abs a chance to relax so we can do this sequence on the other side. And we're focusing on opening up this hip flexor again. So we're gently engaging the glute, kind of dragging the knee back. Okay, release that. As you roll back onto your back, your feet and your knees are about hips distance apart. We're going to drop both knees over to the left. Tighten your right glute. Push your hip up to the ceiling. You can stay here, or we have 10 crunches with or without your yoga strap. Bring it up. 10, 9. Focusing on your oblique muscles. 7, 5, 4, 2, and 1. Just relax. Either hold your stretch here for this hip flexor, or you have the option to roll completely over onto your left side. Taking hold of that right ankle, pulling back, holding your quad stretch. So I know that this is not accessible a lot for folks to bend your knee that much. So you can take your yoga strap, make a little loop, throw it over your ankle, pull it toward you. Works great. A couple more breaths here. And then release. Roll back to your back. And then we are going to do a seated forward fold with our strap. So take a moment to come up to a seated position. You can also sit up in your chair and just extend your legs forward. If it feels better for you to put your hands behind and press yourself forward, you can do that. You can also just sit with your back straight up against the wall. Sometimes that's a nice stretch. Or we can use our yoga strap, toss it over the bottoms of the feet, sit up nice and tall, neutral spine, and then stretch. Just allow the breath to move in and out through the nose, cycling slowly. Just checking in on the body, noticing how you feel today after the workout. And maybe sink a little deeper for 3 more breaths. And then releasing the strap, sitting up straight. I'm going to turn toward you. You can stay in this position. You can bend your knees and bring the soles of your feet together. You can sit cross-legged. I'm going to sit with legs straight ahead. And we are going to do 3 repetitions of front rowing 3. Elbows bend, arms by your side. We'll press up, lower, lift, and circle. Bend your elbows, 2 more. Press, lower. Maybe noticing how this feels right now as compared to about 50 minutes ago when we first did our first one. And then take a side stretch over to the right. And to the left. Back to center. 1 breath together, stretching up, pressing the palms, drawing the thumbs to the heart center. We'll pause for just a moment to celebrate our hard work today. This has been a great month so far working on our posture, and our intention is to take these concepts with us into our functional everyday life. And that light and joy that resides within me honors the light and joy in each of you. Namaste, and thank you so much for joining me. If you signed in a little bit late this morning, I have to go. I can't stay for our little chit chat. I have a contractor outside that I need to meet with. But if you get a chance, send me a little note. Let me know how your workout was today. And also if you have any special things you want me to weave into yoga this week, but our focus is going to be on releasing hip flexors. So that's what we'll